If only I can get through this. If only I can get through this. If only I can get through this. God, God, you gotta help me get through this.
So, the cheetah. There's the power of engineering right there, huh? Light, swift, with the acceleration of a missile, deadly, lethal. You know, when I was younger, we were told the cheetah could run about 60 miles an hour. We now know they can run between 70 and 75 miles an hour, 68 miles an hour in 3 seconds. 68 miles an hour. The fastest thing on 4 legs. Nothing stands a chance against it. Unless, if its intended victim can get a little heads up and can outmaneuver it, even for just a few seconds, though that's easier said than done, but if it can do it, then the cheetah will be found panting under a tree somewhere, recovering, and the gazelle is off the menu for a day. Disproportionate heart size is the cheetah's Achilles. No hanging power, no stamina. It's not a wolf or the wild dogs that share the African plains with the cheetah that can run its prey all day and run it into the ground. Cheetah's not like that. It's a firework. Glorious, but brief. You know, I baptized a few cheetahs down through the years. They emerged from the waters of baptism, engine running, eyes aglow, ready to set the world aflame, with an enthusiasm that would embarrass the rest of us, only later to be found panting under a tree, or worse, not found at all. And it's not that the enthusiasm was wrong, of course not. In John chapter 4, we have a woman who converts an entire village with enthusiasm. Someone said to me once, no, it wasn't the enthusiasm, it was the message she carried about Christ. She didn't carry a message about Christ, she carried a question. Come and meet a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be Christ? That's not a proclamation, that's not a sermon, that's a question. But a question pregnant with enthusiasm. Paul said, if we endure, we will also reign with him. George Washington's men walked forever and a day through winter without adequate clothing or food or even shoes. And they did this because they were looking forward to a better world. Sound familiar? I used to play football for the Boys Brigade back in Scotland. It's like the Boy Scouts. But on a Friday night when we'd all gather, we had these, older boys that would make us run and run, took us outside the church, ran us all over the place. Sadists. And I was never a runner. I could sprint. I had a few sprints in me, but no stamina. And these people would make us run and run and run all night. Hated them. Despised them. I don't anymore. I'm working on it. I played football with a guy called Ian Johnson. Great guy. Him and his brother both, Ian and Alan. And great football players. But Ian could run all day. I used to watch him. I used to marvel at him, running up and down the pitch. He would have come out at half time and ran around if we'd let him. Would never stop. I marvel at this. I marvel at people that can just keep on going. It's never been a part of my DNA. I'm a sprinter, and used to sit back and look at this guy running and running and running. Open the pages of history, the same thing staggers me. People that have borne up, who have endured persevered, sometimes under horrendous conditions. They keep on going and going and going. Just off the west coast of Africa, once a year the sardines move, and millions upon millions of them from the air. They're so dense and so massive, it looks like a giant oil slick, and they swim up the coast happy enough, all getting on with each other as far as I can see. And then the dolphins arrive. And the dolphins push them to the surface because that eliminates somewhere else that they can run. But when they get to the surface, then they're dive bombed by the gulls. And then the shark smells the blood in the water, and the sharks appear. And then bringing up the rear are the whales, who open their mouth and swallow communities of them in a single gulp. And I would imagine the sardines could handle the dolphins, or maybe even the dolphins and the gulls. But when everything hits at the same time, and when everything hits relentlessly, some of you are going through that right now. Some of you feel like that right now. And every now and then when we feel like this, we're tempted to wonder whether or not it's all worth it. You know what Paul said to the people of his days? He said, our present sufferings, and they were suffering. He said, our present sufferings, not worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed in us, and no doubt around us. Not worth comparing. This life is not a sprint. It's not a firework. It's a march. Oftentimes through trials, suffering, pain, hardship, through winter. But we do it because we look forward to a better world, a finer world. James says, blessed is the one who bears up under trial, who perseveres under trial, who endures under trial, who sardines under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life the Lord has promised to those who love him. So you hang in. And if you can't hang in, hang on. And if you can't hang on, then find a friend or two and ask them to hang on to you. Not worth comparing.
Give me just a second, then I'll be alright. Surely one more moment couldn't break my heart.